So I'm really excited to talk about this movie. So let's just chop right into it. Let's go. Hello there, my spooky, scary skeletons. It's Chloe in real life, and welcome back to another episode of my Halloween Spooktacular. And welcome back to the mini-series of my Halloween Spooktacular, episode 2 of Film Fridays. And if you didn't know, it's Friday the 13th, which is so cool because it's spooky season and it's Friday the 13th. And so I thought it would be only fitting to talk about Friday the 13th. This movie is like one of the founding fathers of 80s slasher horror. Technically, it came out in 1980s, so it is one of the first 80s slasher horror movies. And it's such a cultural influence with having 12 movies. I didn't know that it had 12 movies. Novels, TV series, comic books, action figures, merchandise, Halloween costumes. It's everywhere. And it's even inspiring modern day entertainment and television, like with the new season of American Horror Story being based on the 1980s slasher horror genre. So I'm really excited to talk about this movie. So let's just chop right into it. Let's go.
Hello? Who's that?
So let's get into the plot of this movie. Even though I feel like a lot of people have seen this movie, it's been out for 39 years and a lot of people probably know the story, but I'm going to cover it anyway. So this is a story about teenagers who go up to be camp counselors and open Camp Crystal Lake for the summer season. And Camp Crystal Lake has kind of a dark history. A little boy drowned in the lake way back many years ago, and 2 camp counselors died. But, you know, things happen. The past is in the past. The camp counselors are like, it's fine. We'll go and we'll set up for the season. But during the process of setting up, things start to go wrong. Like, for instance, when the chef tries to hitchhike a ride down to Camp Crystal Lake, she gets in the wrong car and ends up with her throat slit. And then eventually during the process of setting up, a storm starts to roll in, which forces all the teenagers to stay inside the cabins for shelter. And you know what happens when teenagers, boys and girls, are together alone without any adults. There's some hanky-panky going on. But if we know anything about horror movies, like one of the rules of horror movies is if you do the hanky-panky, you're going to get murdered, and that's exactly what happens, and that's what happens a lot during this movie. Then, towards the end of the movie, we find out the killer isn't even Jason. Jason's been dead. He was the boy that drowned in the lake, and the killer is actually his mom seeking revenge because the whole reason Jason drowned in the lake is because 2 camp counselors were off doing the hanky-panky. And so she decides that for any camp counselors that are doing the hanky-panky, they're gonna die. But towards the end of the movie, we find out that Jason isn't as dead as he seems. Or is he? We don't know for sure, but I have a feeling that he's still out there because there are 12 other movies. So he's gotta be. So that's pretty much the plot. Now let's get into what I thought about it. So when it comes to my thoughts on this movie, it wasn't my favorite. Now, before you get mad at me, it wasn't my favorite because I felt like there wasn't too much plot besides kids doing the hanky-panky and then getting killed. That's pretty much the movie. But I can appreciate the fact that it was so important to horror films and to movies in general. It was really one of the first movies to deal with a slasher or a serial killer with just killing after killing after killing, and just made completely for the violence and the gore and the guts, which I can appreciate. I mean, it's a whole genre that's beloved, and Jason is one of the most famous monsters, I guess. He isn't really a monster because he's a person, but he's one of the most famous killers of all time, of movie history. It's him, Freddy, Michael Myers, and that's, there's a few others, but they're the main three. So I really appreciate this movie for being so groundbreaking and just a whole new thing to add to creating pretty much a new genre of film. And I really was pleasantly surprised by the plot twist at the end, with it not being Jason, but his mom. But, obviously Jason is very well known, so he's gonna come back. And so I'd be interested in watching some of the sequels to see how Jason comes back and what his character is, because he's so well known. It pushes me to want to see more. So let me know in the comments down below what you think of Friday the 13th. I would probably have to give it 3 out of 5 spooks, but let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, because I love hearing your thoughts and opinions, so let me know. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, don't forget to subscribe. Be sure to hit the notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a spooky video just like this one. I will see you all next time. Don't forget to stay spooky. Bye!
Friday the 13th. You may only see it once, but that will be enough. Friday the 13th.